For sure. Alright. So, I'm gonna go ahead and try and help some people out by talking about this. How to lose fat the actual optimal way using science and math. Um, yeah, I've done a lot of researching and learning over time to pick up all these different tips and methods and put them all together and how to actually utilize them to solve the Rubik's Cube of losing fat, cutting fat optimally. So, first off, I'm going to start off with what you could spend money on to help you out. First, you can get the just a body fat scale. You just need a body fat scale, something to measure your body fat percent, so you can know how much body fat you have, because that'll be useful for learning how much to burn, how you can burn it optimally. So I recommend the only scale that I've used for body fat, which is the Renfo Health Scale. I get it on Amazon. It's like $27, $25, something like that. It's real well worth it. $30, you know what I'm saying? Real well worth that scale. I mean, it measures your weight, body fat, and lots of other things. And it's done a great job at helping me lose my fat optimally. Just any scale that gives you a good rough measurement of your body fat ought to work pretty dang well. Because you really, it's way easier if you have these two things to help you out, I'm sure, but either way, you don't really need these two things to buy that I'm mentioning at first. And which the second thing is an Apple Watch that helps you track your calories, or some sort of watch that helps you track the calories you burn. I like the Apple Watch because it tracks it, and then you can use the health app on your iPhone, and it connects with that. I don't know how other fitness things work. I'm sure they have similar stuff. Fitbit probably has an app. Android stuff has apps. Whatever. But I use an Apple Watch and the Renfo Health Scale to measure my body fat and to measure the calories that I burn per day. Those are very important to knowing how to lose fat optimally, scientifically. For sure. Yeah. So, third I get into is you want to eat, let's say, 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. The reason I say 0.8 to 1.2, which is kind of a huge difference, is because protein is such a good type of calorie that really it's like the gold of calories. Like, if you have more of it, like, you're probably straight to eat it, given that you're in a proper calorie range. I mean, if you're in a calorie surplus of protein, protein's so thermogenic and is literally like the building blocks used for making muscle and repairing the body. So it's a calorie compared to fat and carbohydrate, especially fat, that might be able to be utilized. So I'm just saying that eating that much protein can be really good for burning fat, because one, it's thermogenic, so every calorie of protein you eat, it's literally like the body has to thermogenic, meaning that it has a like burning effect, a caloric burning effect. It's metabolically let's just say it asks from the body metabolically, for an awful way to say it, but essentially, protein is just a good calorie because it goes to making muscle and to repairing the body, and also it burns calories to digest. So burns the most calories to digest, and it's the least calories per gram shared, along with carbohydrates. Calories. So protein, there you go, 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. 0.8 is really apparently like all we need. Like 0.82 or 0.86. So, but you're going to be well fine with 0.8, even a little bit less. You're going to be plenty fine. It's just protein is such a money calorie. Now, you want to eat that much protein, and like I said, you want to get, like I always say, you want to get your protein not from red meat or dairy, because red meat and dairy just isn't good for humans. It's not human food. It clogs our hearts up. It maybe was like useful food when we were freaking scavengers, like animals, but now that we can farm and like don't have to like for our food, you know. We are supposed to eat like, you know, actual things for our body, which is fiber, which, you know, humans were sugar burners, carbohydrate burners. Carbohydrate, aka sugar, aka plants, you know. Carbohydrate is sugar, glucose, glycogen, plants, whatever you want to call it, ATP, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call carbohydrate, sugar, in whatever its stage, low fiber, high fiber, it's all sugar. Anything that's a plant, anything that's a carbohydrate, sugar. Humans, we burn sugar for our fuel. Fat and carbohydrates are the two types of fuel. Protein's building blocks. Think about if your body's a construction team and they need materials and fuel. So they use materials, which is protein, fuel, which would be carbohydrates, and then fuel, which would be fat too. But carbohydrates and protein are really the two things that humans need, because the body can make fat calories out of carbohydrates and prefers carbohydrates as a source of fuel. Fat really isn't even like a preferred source of fuel, other than like if we have it to use, or just like, I mean, essentially. I mean, it's like comparing logs to sticks as like burning fuel, I guess. I mean, I just don't really see why we need grams of fat, as long as they're not replaced by like carbohydrate grams. Why would we need grams of fat? Because we don't. Realistically, we need omegas. We need our fatty acids. So that's not grams of fat. Fatty acids are, you could eat 100 grams of fat and have no essential fatty acids in it, or you could eat 1 gram of fat and have a ton of essential fatty acids in it. So it's about making correct food choices, which is not eating red meat or dairy, and eating nuts, seeds, fish, olive oil, avocado, healthy fats. You know what I'm saying? Look up Google what healthy fats are, and Google will tell you better than me. So you want to eat as much protein as you can, essentially, as much carbohydrates as you can, essentially, and as little fat as you can, but as much essential fatty acids as you can. That's what fish oil is. It's omegas in a pill. They make omega complexes, which is all three, omega 3, 6, and 9 together, which those are great. That is a great way to get your omegas in too. But, you know, all, like I said, the really highly healthy fats that are dense in those essential fatty acids, olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, those are going to get you a long way in terms of getting your omegas. So you want to get your protein, carbs, your fat, and with all this being said, you want to stay within a deficit. All right, here's the money part. You want to stay within a deficit. I got to give like credit to this part, because I only know this number, this equation, because of somebody else. So giving credit to, it's this dude on freaking YouTube, but I found one of his articles. It's like an article, I'm pretty sure. I forget his name, but he's got those. It's not gravity transformation. It's this other dude that looks kind of like Mexican or Asian or something. I don't know what he is, but he's something. He looks like Hispanic or Asian. I don't know. He looks something. I don't know if he's whatever, but he's cool, and he helps, you know, learn about your help me learn about how much body fat you can burn per day. So you want to stay in a deficit of 31 calories per pound of body fat per day. Money. So that is how much fat the human body can burn in one day. The human body won't burn more. I mean, apparently, you know, if we want to stick to this equation, which it makes a lot of sense if you hear my I guess theory as to why this makes sense. Human body won't burn more than 31 calories per pound of body fat per day. Why? Because it doesn't want to burn all of its stored fat. Is basically stored food that we ate too much of in the past. Because all our body fat, all our like metabolism is we eat so many calories per day and we burn so many calories per day. And our body fat is a show of how much calories we didn't burn that we ate. That's all that is. All it is. All it is. And so you will never, ever, 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 ever lose your belly until you let your body use it as fuel. Like I said before, fat is fuel for the body. It's not protein. It's not used to make muscle. It's not used for any of that. It's used to be burned as fuel. That's what a belly is meant for. I mean, humans aren't supposed to have big bellies. We're not supposed to have body fat over a certain percent. Anything over that, that's when we start getting diabetes, which I need to make a video. I'm finna dog on the diabetes industry because like nobody else knows about this but me, I guess, that like the diabetes is a $400 billion scam of an industry. Like, I'm just gonna mention this here because all diabetes is, which given that the common person doesn't know that equation I said about body fat, or even like all these tips put together about body fat, like all this knowledge, that these 2 years of knowledge of different things I know about protein and carbs, whatever, and exercise and metabolism that I'm now able to put together because I didn't know this 2 years ago. So you can't just say that like you can't even just pick a random politician, a random scientist, and expect them to know this. You should be able to take a nutritionist and them know all this stuff, but you got to think all these different things I learned from different nutritionists who specialize in different things. Whatever. Sugar is important. You know why? Because sugar means glycogen, and our brain, every bit of our body uses sugar. I haven't finished this. I haven't even gotten into this book at all yet. But I bought it for a reason. It's a $100 book, and I got it on sale for a really good price. Well worth it. $100 even, I'm sure. Because carbohydrates so important. And that's what even the authors of this book are essentially writing, is how like there's just not much information out there about how important carbohydrates are in the brain. And here we are. So, I'm not the only nerd about why human beings, are sugar burners and why we're not saturated fat burners like carnivores. Like, it's so silly and redundant and just ironic that like human beings, I mean, I understand, but it's so silly and like paradoxical how human beings do the carnivore diet. Like carnivore diet, like if you ever took, like any of like 5 or so formal logic courses, you would then maybe be able to reason, okay, carnivores are animals that survive off of meat. Humans are not animals that survive off of meat. Therefore, humans are not carnivores. Whatever logic argument you need to use to figure out that like carnivore does not equal human being. I don't know, man. But it's just so like ironic and silly, like seeing humans say carnivore diet and you just see all the red meat, and it's like, have you ever heard of a lion before? Like, if you ever like I don't know. I guess people forget that lions exist. I think that we think because of our couple of teeth there, we're lions. So yeah. Basically, you want to eat that going on a tangent there about the diabetes industry and carnivore crap. Humans burn carbohydrates as fuel. Our body fat is just excess food we haven't eaten, so we got to burn it as fuel or we'll never lose our fat. That's just kind of how it is. We can't, I don't know. This is stuff that you just don't know. Like, people just don't know this stuff. They think, they think, oh, if I eat this certain food or if I exercise more, my body fat will go. It has nothing to do with that. You could eat every bit of food in the world and lose your body fat, or you could essentially, you couldn't eat no food and lose your body fat, which actually that comes to mind. Another tip is fasting. Fasting, literally, after eating no carbohydrates for 12 hours, or food at all, because your big self don't need to be eating no food at all, probably, unless it's like taking some vitamins. But I'm not saying that you don't need to be eating food. I'm saying you need to be supplying your body with vitamins. But as long as you got a belly, you don't need to be using that as most of your fuel. You don't need to be sitting here playing around, worrying about other crap, because like that's just not. We got body fat percentage to get right here to optimize our hormones, optimize our health, make us not weird and whatever. Like we want to be human beings in our optimal state. That's all we want. So it's just like, no human, even humans with proper body fat, really understand body fat percentage too much and like the optimal health around it. It's just, so everybody, even like lean people a lot of lean people have an unhealthy perspective of body fat and what it is. A lot of people think, oh, body fat, I'm a big bear, I can survive through the winter. When actually, muscle is more thermogenic than fat mass, and it's just like all fat mass does is, like I said, causes diabetes and organ problems, metabolic issues. That's all excess body fat does. It doesn't make you big and strong, doesn't make you nothing, makes your testosterone low, it makes you just unhealthy. Makes your hormones improper if you're a man or a woman, and it makes you excess body fat, which women are supposed to have more body fat than men. Believe it or not, a lot more, like a good deal more. If you look it up, it's more like 25 to 30%, whereas men, we can get down to like 15, lower than that. Like this is like 12, 13. There's like, 12, 13, 13. No, closer to 10 is where I'm feeling like health. Like I'm feeling like a dog then. Like I'm like, there's a huge difference between a 15% body fat me and a 10% or 11%. I don't know if I've ever been to really 10, but I'm telling you, like, it's just, you feel like a dang different. You know what I'm saying? Your levels are different, and everything's different. So yeah, man. So yeah, we're sticking to the leather right now, to the cow skin. I'm appreciative. Thanks God, man. But just we're not supposed to eat cows. Speaking of a cow, we're not carnivores. We're not wolves. We're not coyotes. We're freaking human beings. Our bodies, our guts, our digestive system have bacteria for fiber from plants. That's what it's for. So yeah, this video is just how to lose body fat. Get your scale. Measure your calories. Be in the calorie deficit. You know what I'm saying? Of 31 calories per pound of body fat per day. For me right now, that's 700 calories. That's a lot. That's a decent amount of calories. So think about it. That's why I say fasting. Because most big people with bellies, that actual belly, because I don't have a belly. I have a belly technically. It's really small. You can't see it, really, unless I pull it out like this. But, people that have bellies, that's the main feature of their body, that is a belly that's upwards of, that's 40%. This is, like I said, this is, 13%. That's, 40+% body fat. Then you can go days. Oh, I didn't even tell my theory of why our body uses fat. Only burns a certain amount of fat per day. But you can go for a long time. You can go for days, if not days, burning fat for muscle. Because like I said, if you got, if you're at 40% body fat, let's say you're at 50% body fat at 200 pounds, okay? I don't know. I think that's pretty unrealistic. I mean, at 50% at 200. But maybe. I don't know. I mean, for some people, this world's crazy. So, it's the same world that had a Holocaust and whatnot and slavery. So I'm not really just trying to be cynical by saying the world's crazy, but there's a lot of messed up stuff. Okay, so that's not to say I don't know, but your body can burn a lot of fat per day if you got a big old belly like you shouldn't. If you look like a dang human being, because no other animal on Earth becomes overweight or obese in nature ever. Okay, so basically, essentially, my theory as to why the human body won't burn all of its fat in one day is because if we were stranded on an island, we would not basically our fat is our stored fuel for later. So if we burn through, at the body fat I have now, I could last for a month, I think, a month or two with the body fat I have now. As lean as I am, as lean as your average athlete is, they could last for about a month off of their if they ate nothing and basically didn't burn no calories every day, because of the way that how much fat you have adds up to how many calories, because a pound of body fat is 3,500 calories. So how many pounds of body fat? Right now I have 23, I think. So 23 times 3,500, that's a lot of calories. You see? So that's a lot of calories I have to burn through, but your body doesn't straight burn through it. Every 24 hours it burns through 31 calories per pound of body fat, and then the rest would come from muscle. Any extra calories would come from muscle. So that's one reason why it's important to not be in too much of a deficit. That's a really important thing here, is you don't want to be in too much of a deficit ever. It's hard to be when you have the bigger the belly you have, the harder it is to be. But for somebody like me, when I'm, fasting, or when I'm, just being in a calorie deficit in general, I really got to watch that line between, 700 calories and 800 calories of a deficit. Like, you know, like a banana is the difference between me losing 100 calories of muscle or not. You know, so, or a tablespoon of olive oil. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just kind of, which a banana would be better calories because olive oil is just going to be fat calories, which are not going to be used for anything but to just burn. Carbohydrate and protein are going to be used to make muscle for like all your body processes, but fat is literally just like fuel, just because it was the mechanism of carrying essential fatty acids to your body, and then you have to burn that off because of it. Which kind of sucks, because like all the good stuff is high fat, like freaking chia seeds, all those fat stuff I was actually talking about that are the good omegas, like chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, avocados, olive oil, like all these things are so good, but they're so high in fat calories that it's like you kind of have to pay for eating them. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, that's why we need to be in a deficit, because we have to pay back for eating too much food. Like that's all body fat is. People, I hate hearing people talk about, oh, your hormones affect your body fat. Like, oh gosh, like the fat, like people just, you know, like I mean, I like, you know what affects your hormones? Your body fat. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's just, it's so crazy like that people don't just like, I mean, I understand not knowing. I understand. I've been in a position where I think, dang, if I cut out this one food, if I cut out dairy and red meat, I'll lose my body fat. Didn't work. If I cut out, I've got a lot healthier. My heart's a billion times healthier. My other organs, every other organ, I'm preventing Alzheimer's, preventing cancer, preventing liver failure, preventing kidney failure, preventing colon cancer, preventing whatever else I'm preventing, preserving gut health, you know, but that's not going to make you lose fat, because I could eat literally just rice, and like it doesn't matter. I could eat freaking broccoli, and if I eat enough calories of it, I'll get fat. I'll be fat. I will have if I eat more calories than I burn per day. I always use the comparison of calories to gasoline. It's like gasoline in your car. It's fuel. You know what I'm saying? How much you put in, you got to burn. If you finish driving your car, park it in your driveway, and you still got a gas tank in it, overnight, imagine that rest of that gas tank adds onto your car as like pounds, just like metal, just forms on your car overnight, and you come out to your car and it's just heavier and bigger. Won't even drive out your driveway anymore because it just added on metal to the side. That's all that is. That's what, you know, fat is. So it's calories that weren't burned. It's all it is. And so to get rid of them, we have to burn them. Like I said, it's like if you took your car and you pulled it out, so you can't get out the driveway. You pulled it out and you drove it, kept driving it, because it's at zero now, because it's like literally, like imagine like you left gas in your car overnight, but instead of having your gas that you left, it just went to this and you're back on zero and you have to go get more gas essentially. But thankfully, I mean, if you want to do exercise, anything more than walking, your body has to burn carbohydrates for. But anything that's just living, just sitting here like this, or walking somewhere, or going to the grocery store, that'll come from fat. Fine. It may, I mean, obviously we all need some carbohydrate. We're not supposed to be freaking keto. Ketosis is awesome, keto's not. But whatever. Fruit flies, man. But yeah, so you just gotta, thankfully humans, we could go on a walk that morning. You could take your car out, let's say your car, and you go on a walk, and then your body will burn off that metal. See what I'm saying? Or let's say you just don't get gas, but you just start your car and let it run. It'll burn off that metal. Which starting your car would essentially be waking up, living, you know what I'm saying, and not running, not going anywhere. There's your analogy. Yo, there's my analogy. Yeah, so basically, this is like the only video you would ever need to watch on body fat, hopefully, because like there's just not much more to it other than like you got to burn your calories. You can only burn 31 calories per pound of body fat per day. Maximize protein calories, maximize carbohydrate calories, minimize fat calories while maximizing omegas. You know what I'm saying? A body fat scale and a calorie measuring device really help you do this process. And if not, like I say, I've said before, you can do a 500 calorie deficit. Anybody can just do a 500 calorie deficit. Because like I said, in my body fat percent, it's 700. So I could do 500 and it would be fine. It would just be much slower. Way significantly slower than like, you know, fasting, taking days of fasting. Like if I was that overweight, I would be fasting just taking days of just fasting. You know what I'm saying? I'd eat a little bit, obviously. I'd eat it'd be like one meal a day type stuff. It'd be like, real deal, like one or two meals a day type thing, like breakfast and a supper type thing, or just a breakfast and just like, just hitting that and just burning, letting my body just use this as fuel. You know what I'm saying? Not, eating. If I eat whatever food I eat for carbs and protein, I essentially use as burn it as exercise, and then the rest I just go on walks, sit here like this, live and let my body do its thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's just all I can say. A way to get it even faster, is like I said, you give yourself some carbs, and the more exercise you do, the more fat you'll burn. It's just important to do. I would just mainly be going on super long walks. You know what I'm saying? Because like a walk realistically is going to pretty much only burn fat for fuel. And if you're in a fasted state, a walk's really not going to do you wrong in terms of like burning muscle and stuff like that. I wouldn't believe, you know what I'm saying? I really think, especially if you're really, really, really overweight, I really think just long walks is like going to be the best thing at just knocking that out. Like, because if you're doing jogging, well, especially fasted, you're not going to have the carbohydrates to burn, so there's no point. But, you know what I'm saying, if you just burn off, like let's say you eat a breakfast, and right after you eat breakfast, you do a workout. One important thing I like to say is everybody needs to get in 5 days a week, 15 to 30 minutes of both weightlifting and cardio. So weightlifting is either lifting weights or lifting, doing pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. It's all the same thing. Then cardio is walking, running, jogging, sprinting. So, as long as you're getting that in, you basically do that routine after I would, if I was really overweight, I would eat my breakfast with whatever carbs I needed to burn in a 15 to 30 minute workout and a 15 to 30 minute cardio, like decent intense cardio, you know what I'm saying, higher than walking, whatever I could do, you know what I'm saying, because doing more intense exercise burns fat faster than doing low intense exercise. But I would do that, and then I would just burn through that. I would do that workout, and then after that workout, I would just, for the rest of my day, I would walk. I would walk and chill and walk and wait, and that's how I would burn my fat calories. I would just fast. I probably wouldn't eat a supper. I would do one meal a day, and I would just fast. If I really calculated how much if I had depending on how much calories I had, I might, go for multiple days without eating. Like, if my body's got all that fuel, if it's got all that food, it's gonna just eat on it. That's food. It's calories of calories of calories. It's like as if you took a bottle of olive oil and started chugging it. That's that. And realistically, it's like saturated fat. It's like if you took a bottle of lard and chugged it, honestly. And so that's why it's so bad for you. Like same fat clogs your heart the same way you're not supposed to eat mammal fat, red meat, and dairy. It's all bad fat, clogs your heart. Then got cooled bacon grease. There you go. That's what it does to your heart. There you go. That's it. That's the whole thing. So, and plus all the other stuff it does bad to your body. It's not just your heart that it clogs, but it does that. If that hasn't sold you yet, which it did, the bacon grease, the cool bacon grease, actual carnivores their thyroid doesn't allow their heart to be clogged by bacon grease like us. We don't have that mechanism. We don't have that thyroid mechanism. If you take the thyroid out of a carnivore, their heart becomes clogged by bacon grease like ours. So there's the only logic and reasoning. Thanks God for the logic and reasoning course that I took that taught me about delving through information and picking through it and seeing if it's logically checks out or not. That's that's what's the deal about it. So yeah, humans are not supposed to eat saturated fats from animals necessarily. Like I say, bird and fish, bruh, they're good. And eggs, they're good healthy things to me. The bacteria from them is the only part that I would think maybe the most optimal. But in terms of their nutrients, they offer more protein than mammal, less bad fats. Like their fats are good. Fish, even poultry and eggs, it's all good fats. It's a different type of fat than mammal fat. So that's good fats. It's very nutrient dense in terms of vitamins. Lots of vitamins, very nutrient dense there. And yeah, so chicken and fish pretty dang good. I don't know. I mean, they're just and eggs like that's the only animal products that I consume, and what I'm saying, that I feel is even healthy, which isn't much animal products at all, which makes you think, man, how much animal products do I need? But at the same time, they pack such a punch in terms of protein and vitamins that it's like there's no discrediting the value of those meats, of those products. But yeah, I mean, most vegans, I feel like most vegans are more scared of red meat than they are like meat in general, and then so like they take their fear of red meat and then blanket it over all meats, because they haven't just like, it took me literally sitting in the shower and thinking, what is the difference between a cow and a chicken? Wait, a cow's a mammal, a chicken's a bird. I mean, I literally, like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not a not smart person. And I had to rethink that, probably because there's so much other multitudes of information in this world to think about that isn't simply the difference between a cow and a chicken. I haven't thought about mammals. Like, I haven't thought about the word mammal, I feel like, since like the 5th grade. Because why have I needed to, living in the city? So like, even, I don't know, just in general, like, we just don't go over that. We don't sit there and talk every, you don't just see somebody say, hey kid, a cow's a chicken, a bird's a mammal. Like, that's different types of foods. Like, you don't see that. Like, you just don't like get that in. Like, you just see humans, like, humans just don't care. Like, they eat food, and they, like, people just don't they don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all just goofies. Like, I'm just telling you. So this is why I make videos like this, to help people not be goofies, because I've been a goofy before too. I've eaten like a dang goofy, like a goofy, like a goofy, like a goofy. And I know what it's like to be a goofy, and the only reason I'm not a goofy is because I've taken logic courses that taught me how to learn stuff and do the math on stuff and check stuff out and make sure stuff's correct, instead of just whatever. But yeah, man, I probably don't got much space on my phone to finish this video. That's money, dude. Shout out Stale Cracker Man. But yeah, man, dude actually ripped though. Shout out Stale Cracker Man, dude ripped. But dude is muscled up. But yeah, man, that's all I gotta say. That's just what I'm trying to say. You see all the time people trying to lose fat and all this stuff. Man, I just gotta help. I gotta make this video just teach the help. Food you want to eat: poultry, fish, eggs, beans, vegetables, fruit, grains. Grains, carbohydrates, meaning like wheat, rice, oats, pasta, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Boom, boom, boom. Sugar. There you go. As long as you're burning it, you want sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing about sugar's not healthy. You just have to balance it out with a certain amount of fiber. That's it. Sugar's not an unhealthy thing. Sugar is a great thing. Sugar is fuel for humans. It's what we are supposed to have. So, it's what we're supposed to have fiber too. Enough of that. Make sure you get your energy right. A King Supreme said it. He can tell when you're low on carbs. Man, I love that, man. We need our energy. We need our glycogen stores full. We need our carbohydrates. Stop starving yourself, goofies. Stop freaking keto carnivore idiot. Stop. Alright. Alhamdulillah.